Next time you sit next to an airplane window, look closely. You'll notice something strange. At the bottom of the window, there's a tiny hole. Most passengers never notice it, and those who do usually think it's just a manufacturing detail. But that tiny hole is actually one of the most important safety features in the entire aircraft. Without it, airplane windows could crack under pressure. So why is it there? And what exactly does it do at 35,000 feet above the ground? Let's find out. To understand the hole, we first need to understand what happens to airplanes at high altitude. Commercial planes usually fly around 35,000 feet above the ground. At that altitude, the air outside is extremely thin. There isn't enough oxygen to breathe, and the air pressure is only a fraction of what it is at sea level. If the cabin wasn't pressurized, passengers would quickly lose consciousness, so the aircraft pumps compressed air into the cabin to maintain a comfortable pressure. But that creates a huge difference between the inside and outside of the airplane. The air inside is pushing outward, while the air outside is much weaker. That difference creates enormous stress on the aircraft windows. Airplane windows are not made from a single piece of glass. They actually have three layers: the outer pane, the middle pane, and the inner plastic layer you see and touch. The outer layer is the strongest. It carries almost all the pressure load from the cabin. The middle layer acts as a backup, and the inner layer mainly protects the window from scratches or accidental damage from passengers. But even with three layers, managing pressure safely is extremely important. That's where the tiny hole comes in. That tiny hole is called a breather hole. Its job is surprisingly simple. It equalizes pressure between the inner layers of the window. When the plane climbs to high altitude, cabin pressure increases. The breather hole allows air to slowly move between the layers. This ensures that almost all the pressure load is carried by the outer pane. Without the hole, pressure could build up unevenly between the layers, and that could cause stress cracks in the window. In other words, that tiny hole controls how pressure is distributed across the entire window structure. You might wonder what happens if the outer pane fails. Surprisingly, airplanes are designed to handle that situation. If the outer pane cracks, the middle pane can temporarily take the pressure load, and the breather hole helps manage the pressure difference during that process. But such failures are extremely rare. Aircraft windows are incredibly strong. They are tested to withstand huge pressure differences and extreme temperatures, which means that small hole you see isn't a flaw. It's part of a carefully engineered safety system. So the next time you fly and look out the window, remember that tiny hole. It may look insignificant, but it plays a critical role in keeping the aircraft safe thousands of meters above the Earth. Sometimes the smallest details hide the most important engineering solutions. If you enjoy discovering the hidden logic behind everyday things, subscribe to Everyday Decoded. New videos every week.